I need to write some letters to ladies who are pregnant to get them to come in. I want to make sure before I send the letters that it's actually appropriate to do so. To help me achieve that, I've got a number of reports. In this report, I'm checking that they've actually got the pregnancy read code and it's not been superseded by one of the later read codes here, so that the record says that they're still pregnant. I want to make sure also that there's 10 weeks or less until their due date. I'm going to check that they've not had a letter, so the first thing is check if there has been a letter. So a letter that we've sent during the last 11 weeks. And the joined report here, if I turn that round, gives me the ones who've not been written to. I can then use this joined report to bring those others together, and it'll give me a list of people that need to be written to. Obviously, if I use this approach, then from here I could go to Actions, and I could do a mail merge letter from here. The option I'm going to go for is, of course, to use a protocol. So I'm going to use a protocol. What I could do is I could just use the final joined report, say the letters required, and then here what we say if the letter they're in the report for letter is required, we can continue. If they're not, then we'll do something else, like tell the user they're not in the report. That would work quite nicely, but I could make it a bit more flexible than that by using the other reports. I could actually save myself the trouble of trying to work out how to join reports together to get that final result there. So the alternative then, start off with a report here, but this time I want to check first of all if the patient's been read coded as pregnant. So if they've not been read coded as pregnant, I don't think we should write to them. So I'm going to put in an information message just to tell the user that's what's happening. So that's fairly straightforward. What I could also do is I could perhaps put in some text into the patient record so that I don't have to put it in myself. So I could add a note to say, for instance, no letter sent as patient is not coded as pregnant. And then that's the end of that. So if they are coded, then the next thing perhaps to look at is their due date within the next 10 weeks. If their due date's not within the next 10 weeks, then what I'm going to do is give the user the option of whether or not we carry on doing the letter. If we don't want to do a letter, then from here I could have another information box, or I could put more of a note into the patient record or whatever I want to do to finish off the protocol at that point. If I do want to carry on, I've checked that they're coded, I've checked they've got an estimated due date within the next 10 weeks. The next thing is, have they already had a letter? So here we've got a list of who's already had a letter. if they have already had a letter, so I can try to copy and paste, copy and paste, and here you can say patient has had a letter in the last 11 weeks and you still want to send one. So they have had a letter. I asked a question. Nearly forgot. From that question I need to link down to here because we're going to carry on. And from here, again, if we're not doing a letter, we'll have an exit path of some sort. If we are doing a letter, then we're moving on with our yes from here. What are we going to do? We're going to do a letter. So, action. Standard warning. Let's see, is it letter I want to search for? And I'm going to use this option here. It's a new letter, but I want to have it all pre-filled, everything done to simplify things for the user rather than them having to choose a template and fill the options in which will be addressed to and those sort of things. So from this organisation to the patient, possibly from GP, possibly from someone else on the staff, but basically we're going to send it to the patient. Right, we'll use this as our example letter. What letter type is it? Well, I did decide as an example I was going to use a specialist letter, but I would hope to have something a bit more appropriate if I was doing this for real. So if they've not had a letter already, it's straight on to producing it. Otherwise, through the questionnaire, yes, I want to continue. And again, we can finish off with information boxes or adding notes or even adding read codes if that's what's required. This patient is coded as pregnant and has not had a letter. This patient is not coded as pregnant.